All right, Jaclyn, let's chit chat about your stuff. Okay, so we have your body shape analysis
Hmm.
done, apple shape. We have your style profile done, classic, preppy, edgy. I can imagine there's a couple like things clicking in your brain of like, well, how does that work together? What does that mean? Because if you think about preppy and you think about edgy, they do
They,
not. Like, how do you see? Like, how do those things mesh together?
and I'm interested in like your insight, but as I was like reading through the style guide, I was like, oh yeah, this makes
Yeah.
sense,
Oh
right?
my gosh.
Hmm.
Yes, it's so fun when you read through your style profile and you start reading that language or those explanations and like the dots start to connect and it
Yeah,
clicks and you're like, oh my gosh, thank you for helping me honestly get in a box.
right.
Like, of course, we want your style to be very expressive and very personalized, but sometimes you're like, can you just give me vocabulary and
Yeah.
words to like help me understand and get on like a lane or a path?
Hmm.
So again, what we always talk about is really building your wardrobe strategically in a way that adds value and versatility and isn't just a bunch of stuff that doesn't make sense together when
Right.
it comes to your wardrobe. So let's start though with the first piece, which is body shape,
Okay.
which I do feel like you like watching you and the way that you put together outfits and you dress and the things you shop for that you share. I feel like that's something you've gotten the reins on pretty well over the years. But tell me if there's any like questions or hiccups or like annoyances that you are having a hard time navigating through fit and
Yeah.
shape.
Yeah. So I feel like I can identify what doesn't work. And once something is on my body, I can figure out, yeah, this works or this doesn't work. And I shop mostly online. I look at something and I'm like, oh my God, this is super cute, but is this going to work for my body? And I'm not really sure how to determine if it will or it won't without trying it on.
You identified it without knowing it, and it's not fun. So just get ready for that. And I feel like I could have a lot of guts saying this because I'm an apple shape too.
No, speak,
Yeah,
speak to
yeah.
me, give it to me
So
straight.
the
Mhm.
scale for apple shape on what doesn't work to what does work is very dramatic in the
Mhm.
difference than any other body shape.
Mhm.
So
Yay.
I know apples will have the most limited
Mhm.
cuts and fits and sometimes fabrics that they feel work best for them than any other body shape. So sometimes they can be like, am I doing this right? Like, what am I missing? Because it seems like there's a lot over here
Yeah.
that doesn't work. So then what does work for me over
Mhm.
here? That seems really bizarre. The proportion of where our curves come from is not traditional
Right.
to women's clothing cuts, which is always trying to create that hourglass
Mhm.
figure or camouflage your figure if you
Mhm.
don't have that one.
Right.
Like as far as we've come so far in the way that clothes are cut for different body shapes and different sizes and the inclusivity of that, but there's still some of that baked into just the
Mhm.
DNA of women's clothing that make it hard. And our waist doesn't come in, our
Not
waist
at
goes
all.
out. So
It
it's
does.
exactly the opposite. We're a diamond
Right.
instead of the hourglass. I don't know if I
Mhm.
can like do that weird shape backwards. So it's like the complete opposite. So it is more limiting. But I will say this as an apple shape, when you do hone in on those things that do work for you, you can do them so well. And you
Mhm.
are shocked with how comfortable you feel in your clothes than you've ever felt when you've tried to make this stuff over here work, right? When
Right.
you try to make
Mhm.
it work. And so when we talk about tops specifically, a lot of the problem comes from almost getting things that are cut too boxy or too oversized because you're trying to get a size that fits through the
Right.
midsection, right?
Mhm.
But then what happens is it gets really wide and big through the shoulder because your shoulders are narrow. So the most important thing we're looking at when you're looking at a garment online is how high or close is the neckline and how straight or narrow are the shoulders.
Okay.
And that's your first thing I want you to look at. And if those don't match, more likely than not, the rest of the top is going to be a struggle to fit because then you're going to be going into this. Well, I'm trying to go down a smaller size so it fits better up here and doesn't look so baggy and
Mhm.
shapeless, but then it's too tight
Mhm.
through here. You can kind of look at like the top I have
Mhm.
on here, and you can see how this cuts inward this way, like it
Right.
doesn't come out straight. And then you can see how high and close the neckline is here.
Mhm.
Now, the other thing, and I don't think you have a problem with this because I see the way you completely fit it that you are in your body, but for or some other apples that, you know, where it can get tricky is they don't like that because they're so used to wanting to camouflage the tummy, the midsection. So they want those things that are loose. They want those things that are baggy. They want those things that are long. And it just like the math.
Yeah.
And if you can tell, I mean, the shirt I have on right now is completely fitted. And I look better in something that's like fitted. So I'm not looking oversized and swimming in something shapeless. Like, and even though you can see, like, I have a big belly, like I'm an 18,
Yeah, same.
20, you know,
Right.
like, but like when you start dressing for your body shape, if you haven't been doing that, you start to see your body differently. And there's a learning curve to that. So that's like you start to see the shape of your body and like navigating through that. But okay, back to top. So that's the first thing I want you to look at. Now, the second thing I want you to look at to kind of find the right fit for you is fabric. So your two kind of best fits for you is either really fitted, so something that's in a very stretchy, movable fabric that cuts very close to the body. Anytime something is in like a knit fabric like this, the closer it's cut to the body, the better. Okay. Otherwise, it's going to start to hang rather than drape with shape. So we say, does it hang on your body or drape with shape? So the closer or more fitted it is to the body, the better. As our fabric gets more structured, so less of this, see how movable this is, as opposed to like a button-up shirt, right? Like that fabric doesn't have, it's a very structured fabric. Then instead of it being cut very close to the body, we're looking for things that are cut very straight. Very, very, very straight to the body. Kind of out here, the sort of exceptions to the rules, or, you know, those kind of sort of things is we see a lot of drop shoulder. So especially going into fall when we're looking at cardigans or we're looking at sweatshirts or like pullover sleeve knits and tees, you're going to see a lot of drop shoulder. Now, that's a cut that is opposite of what we would say for apple shape.
Right.
So what I want to make sure you're finding with that is the high and tight necklines.
Okay.
So we say this a lot. It needs to be one or the other, never neither. So if something has a drop shoulder and is cut really loose through here and it has a wider or more open neckline, that's when you're going to feel like you're pulling at it all day. You can't get it to sit correctly. And then the drape through the rest of your body isn't there. It's going to hang instead of drape with shape. So if you're looking at something that has that more relaxed shoulder and want to make sure that it's sitting up here on the neckline on you so that it drapes on your shape proportionately. That's kind of what we're looking for. Yeah, please do.
Because I usually just stay away from drop shoulders. But I mean, that makes sense. If
and we say this for a lot of body shapes, one or the other, never neither. And the other thing perhaps with apple shape, you do want to be careful with length because the longer things get on shirts, not layers, but on shirts, we do get that very tubular effect, which is why, do you remember when you did that whole series about tucking in your shirt?
Yes.
That's why you like it. Because as an apple, you know, we're balancing it ourselves out.
Right. It gives me the appearance of having a waist, even though I don't have a shape, you know?
Yes. And what we love to use the word balance or proportion. It just helps give a balance to your body shape. So that's why like any sort of tucked in look with apples, like again, it seems counterintuitive. Right. Because apples probably their whole life cover my tummy, my midsection is so big, camouflage it up. Right. But it actually gives you more of a shape because it's delivering more balance and proportion. So you'll see on myself, one of my favorite looks is a fitted shirt tucked into a bottom. Yeah. Because like knits that are really fitted on me, they deliver the best look. And then if I tuck them into my pant, then I have that, like, you can still see my size, you can still see my midsection, but it looks balanced and I have a shape. Right. Yeah. So you want to, and one of the things we kind of talk about just from a more, broad, like when you're trying to navigate that, Jaclyn, the closer or more fitted something is to you, the shorter you would want it to be. If something is straighter or drapes more on you, the longer it can go. What you don't want to do though is get much longer than the top of your hips for you because and for apples in general. And at that point you should just be in a dress.
I think sometimes straight and boxy get confused in my head. So if I'm looking at something that, you know, like a straight fit, paying attention to the neck and the shoulders is what's going to really help me determine if it's going to be boxy and not work.
And I would be less concerned about boxy or straight and more concerned about hang and drape.
I've been staying away from shirts, to be honest with you, because I'm like, this isn't going to work, you know?
Well, and if you look at my closet, this is when we go back to the beginning. beginning where we're like, a lot of things don't work for Apple, only a few things do. If
Mhm.
you look in my closet, so many of my shirts look the same
Yeah.
as far as they're cut.
Mhm.
But there's variety in the color, in the
Right.
pattern, in the print, in the
Mhm.
details. That's where you're going to get more variety in that.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you tend to stay away from sleeves? I tend to like tanks more than sleeves
A
because they
hundred
just like
percent.
never like
Yep.
hit the
It's
right
because of
spot.
this. Yes, it's
Okay.
because
Okay.
you're so narrow here.
Yeah.
You're
Because
narrow,
even
so
what I'm
narrow
wearing
through the
now.
shoulders. Yes, it
Hmm.
gets really baggy through
Hmm.
here. That's why I like
Right.
fitted. Look at this.
Right. Right.
That's like fitted knits
Right.
are the best because
No, it
our
makes so
shoulders
much
are so
sense.
narrow. They get
Hmm.
so baggy under here in the arms.
Yeah.
Same concept with pants.
Hmm.
You don't see the
Don't get me
misfit
started
in
on
your
that.
I know. You don't see the misfit in your hips. If your pants aren't cut right, you're not going to have baggy hips. You have
Right.
saggy crotch and baggy butt.
Right.
That's where you have it. And so if your shirt isn't fitting you well,
Hmm.
you're going to see it hanging here
Hmm.
underneath. And that's
Right.
why also as apples, I typically coach shopping down a size in layers
Hmm.
because otherwise you just feel like it's so frumpy through
Right.
here and through the shoulder. So I typically
Right.
shop down a set in jackets that
Hmm.
I and layers I'm wearing open.
Hmm.
If it's a functional like performance, like my winter coat or my whatever, like
Right.
I'm not going to do it then, but you don't
Yeah.
need to close your layers. So I shop down a size because my
Hmm.
shoulders are so narrow.
Yeah. That makes sense too, because a lot of my layers I
Mm-hmm.
can do both sizes,
Yep.
you know.
Yep.
Mhm.
And I know like you do a really great job
Thank
navigating
you.
shopping your shape. Like we all see that and I love it. But like sometimes it's
I
just
try.
nice to like what I say a lot of the times with clients, you know a lot more than you think you know.
Hmm.
I'm helping give you the language to it and
Hmm.
giving you those like aha moments with it of like, oh, that's what this means.
Right.
So
And I like being able to like put a name on it. Like this
yes.
isn't working because of this, or this is working because of this. You know,
And
like
not
that's
because you're doing
helpful.
something wrong.
Right, right.
That's what I want you to
Yeah.
know, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
You're
It's
not
not
doing like you're
me. It's never
Mhm,
me.
mhm. Let's talk about what I am the most excited to get into, which is your
Me
style
too.
profile, because
Yeah, yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah.
where I just feel like all of the good stuff is.
Yeah.
So, again, I want to start with hearing your reaction and your thoughts to being in the profile of classic, preppy, edgy. Go.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm like, I skimmed right through. I'm like, well, I just
Yeah.
want to know what the diagnosis is first, right? And I'm like,
Like, don't
classic.
bury the lead.
Right, right, right. Like, where is it? Where is it? I'm like, classic. Yes. Preppy. I was so excited to be labeled as preppy. Like,
Yes.
titles are very important to me. I'm learning.
Yes.
Like, I was like, yes, I'm preppy. Yes. Like, and then I was like, edgy. What? What is she
Mm-hmm.
smoking? Like, where?
Yeah.
I've been called many things. Edgy has never been one of them, right?
Yep.
So then I was like reading through more and I was like, oh, so that's where I get my little like flair with my
Mm-hmm.
accessories, especially. This is making more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like my clothes are usually very classic preppy. How can I bring it into the
Yeah.
materials I'm wearing and not just the accessories?
Yeah. So there's two, maybe more than two. So here's some
Oh,
headlines that I want to call out that I think will really give you specific direction.
mhm.
So every style has a superpower. Your superpower with edgy is you can wear a fashion jacket with anything and it looks so normal, so everyday. Nobody's doesn't feel like, oh, what are you dressed up for? You could like with anything, like you can wear
I'm
it with
just laughing because of like my 1000 denim and
yeah,
colored jackets. And I'm like,
yeah.
whoa, oh, okay. I
So
knew it was my
now
superpower without knowing.
okay, here's what I want you to take with that
Hmm.
information, though. I'm going to give myself permission to shop and invest in that category. So, what I
Hmm.
want you to use with your style profile is to help it give you a roadmap of what are the categories that are really going to deliver lots of value to my wardrobe so I can go shop them with confidence.
Hmm.
So one of the things like that I would say isn't for you as like an edgy is I actually don't feel like you need to overdo it too much with accessories.
Hmm.
You will find that using what you have will mix and match with a lot of what's already in your wardrobe.
Hmm.
Like get your big favorite like statement pieces, your favorite everyday, and then you're going to wear them with a multitude of outfits in your
Hmm.
closet. Instead, I'd rather you put your resources to building up more jackets and shoes.
But same thing. Like my shoes, like it's like the Rothy points, like
Yeah.
like in different colors. Like I
Yeah.
find
So
something
what
I
I
like and buy in
again
every color.
I want you to do with that information is how do I get variety, not volume? I would
Hmm.
love to see you
Right.
do more cool, like maybe some lug sole loafers,
Hmm.
some really cool, edgy, like platform fashion sneakers,
Hmm.
some really cool flats that have like buckles or hardware on them.
Hmm.
So in your jackets and in your shoes, it's the details. It's the like
Hmm.
stuff with lots of details styles, with this unique personality that comes from them. It does in those two categories, try not to do just more of what you already have.
Right.
Really bring in the variety, because what you will find, this is where the dots connect in the value adding to your wardrobe. Even though you have a lot of different details in jackets and shoes, you will still find almost all of them go with everything you have.
Right.
They're not going to be limiting. They're not going to be like, oh, well, these shoes are have a strong personality, I can only wear them with this one outfit. No. So shoes and jackets, big superpower.
Love.
Now you're going to love this one. Wait till I tell you what your preppy superpower is.
Tell me.
Color.
I knew it.
Color.
I hate color. What do you mean?
Preppy superpower is color. You know, a really bold pop of color against a neutral background outfit, contrasting colors together in outfits, mixing and matching, you know, a lot of different color combinations. That's a really fun preppy superpower. Bold color, your wow colors, using those all the time, really fun, you know, bringing those a lot into your wardrobe. So the one thing though with preppy and graphic preppy and edgy that I want to talk about is pattern and prints. Typically with preppy style profiles, we really like a lot of symmetrical patterns, patterns that are repetitive, and patterns that have very clear defined negative space. That's really what we're looking for. Things that are too abstract, things that are small scale or very whimsical, and that's in certain ways, or over romanticized patterns don't necessarily feel the best. And then in edgy, it's all about graphics, graphic tees. There's this one example I use all the time on edgy style profiles. I think it might have even been on yours, but it's like this black sweatshirt that has stars down the sleeve.
Okay.
Like we would consider that a graphic print. It's not just like a t-shirt from your favorite brand. It's not just like something with a cutesy saying on it from Target or, you know, whatever else. Really look for that pattern, that graphic patterning, expand how you define that.
Okay.
And then how we're going to marry that with your preppy side is very bold, fun patterns, like checkerboard pattern or print.
Okay.
So things that are a little bit more adventurous, things that are more statement. I think expanding your idea of what graphic means, really leaning into the idea of symmetrical, repetitive, clear defined negative space and patterns. And then
that really clicked for me, reading like the symmetrical. I'm like, that really just, I've never been able to put a phrase to it. And that really was like, oh yeah, that makes sense to me.
You know, the traditional things that we can all think of and imagine would be like the stripes.
Right.
Right. That's why stripes are very traditional preppy, because they're repetitive, they're symmetrical, they have clear defined space on them. What I want you to take that into when you're looking at to expand outside of that, so you don't just feel like you have a closet full of stripe patterning. This isn't stripes. It's adding variety, but do you see the repetitiveness of this? Do you see the very clear, defined negative space? So this would be a really great example of how do I take my preppy style, but still, you know, have something other than stripes. It's not just these specific patterns for your wardrobe. It's this concept. And that's where, you know, we want to give you boxes. We want to give you labels so that you feel like, okay, here's my roadmap. Like here's my guide to navigating my style, but it's giving me some choose your own adventure.
Exactly.
The tools that we're giving you inside of that style profile guide is, even if you choose your own adventure, you're most likely going to choose a path that will take you to the correct destination.
Right.
We're not just going to be like, good luck.
Yeah. Have fun. You know, figure it out.
Hope you get to the right place, but we're giving you the tools so that you choose wisely.
Right. And the flexibility to choose what resonates with us.
Yeah. And there's always, we've talked about this, the body shape analysis and the style profile guide, they're tools, not rules. And the language so I hope that you notice the language that we used inside of those is very specific to that, like caution against this. Right. I'm not saying never wear it. Exactly. I'm not saying you can't, but like caution, you know, or with your style profile, lean into these kind of patterns, lean into these kind of details. They might not be the only thing you like. You might not like them at all. The one thing that I did want to say is, you know, you as an apple shaped, classic, preppy, edgy style, I could have a client with the exact same formula, another woman who is apple with the same style. Your wardrobes are still going to look completely different. We want you we want to help you express who you are on the inside, on the outside.
Yeah.
That's
I
all
love
we're
that.
here to do. I'm not here to say you can only do this, you can only do that. Like, it's just, let me give you some guidance on it,
Right.
and let me help protect you from wasting time and money on clothes that you hate and that you're never going to wear. And also, a lot of the times, especially with the edgy, that one can sometimes feel the boldest
Yeah.
or the loudest or take
Yeah.
up the most space. And when I help women see that in themselves, it's probably the most I see women cry.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
they're like, oh
sure.
my gosh, like, yes, but
Yeah.
I've been keeping that quiet. I've been keeping that small because I didn't want to be too loud. I didn't want to take up too much space. And it's like,
Yeah.
this is really
Right.
you.
Right. Right.
So with that in your style profile, when you think about your current wardrobe and sort of what you have in there and like how you're using it, any other kind of things that come up to mind or questions or thoughts that it arose for you?
It just made a lot of sense. Like I was like, oh, so this is why I lean into so many basics because this is the classic
Mm-hmm.
aspect.
Yes.
And it's the
Classics
edgy.
love their wardrobe essentials. They
Yeah, like
freaking love them.
100%.
Uh-huh,
100%.
uh-huh.
And I'm like, how can I love, like that preppy vibe. And that makes me feel like not even having to shop, but just being able to experiment more with what I already have, like maybe
Mm-hmm.
popping a collar instead of keeping it down and,
Mm-hmm.
tying the little sweater over the shoulders
Yeah,
because I'm preppy and
yeah.
I can, like just thinking about how I can utilize what I already have in a different way to really
Yes.
enhance some of those things. And then where can I bring in that edginess because it excites me. Like here,
Yes.
like that excites me. I'm
Yes.
like, ooh, we can play. How are we going to
Mm-hmm.
add that in? Like
Yep.
I feel like I need some shoes with some studs or something on them, like
Yeah.
let's
Mm-hmm.
knock somebody out,
Yeah.
not
Oh, I
really. I
love
would
it.
never actually injure anyone. Legally, I have to say that.
Yeah.
So it like made sense and excited me at the same time, which is like it's just so satisfying. It's like
Mm-hmm.
validating and encouraging all at once.
Yes,
So
and take that excitement piece and see that as like, oh, now I have the confidence to know that shopping and building up these categories in my closet are going to add value and versatility for me.
right.
So I really want you to use your style guide as a way to help you feel very confident that you're not wasting your time and money on the wrong thing. It's like, oh, now I know these are the things that I'm gonna be able to wear with everything I have. I can give myself permission to shop for them and forget about this other stuff, right? Like don't try to fit a square peg in a round hole. This is what I need to be focused on. Okay, so for fall specifically for you, okay, have fun with jackets. This is your season to shine. Shop those layers. Totally get into that. Same with shoes, but I really want you to think about loafers and I want you to think about flats that have more hardware on them. So I know
Yeah.
you love your Rothy's and that's great, but let's expand
You
outside
said
with
shoe
other
shop.
yeah,
We are
with other
good.
details.
Yeah.
So with some
Yeah.
unique personalities or details or something. Those are your two kind of go-tos for fall. For fall, because you are a classic, make sure that you're auditing and you are replacing any of your wardrobe essentials. This is the time to do it. Okay. So
Okay.
minimum 2 times a year, September and March is when I suggest. So do a really good audit of all of your essentials. Make sure they're nothing stained, torn, ripped, stretched, whatever it might be. What I would also do for fall to a way to refresh your wardrobe without having to actually shop and add new pieces, lean into our style formulas and to our mixing matrix. So, when you're talking about new ways to play with color and like wearing things, style formulas are neutral, neutral, pop of color. How is that coming in? Or solid, solid pattern. So how are you looking at, here are my pops colors. What have I not worn them with? Like, what if I thought I couldn't wear them with? Or mixing your patterns in with different solids. So use those style formulas and then your mixing matrix. So the mixing matrix is occasion, season, look. What casual pieces could you bump up and maybe make them feel a little bit more work appropriate, or we're out for a dinner or a girls' night or a date night with what you're like mixing and matching them with? Seasonal stuff. What stuff from spring and summer, if we're having these new layers come in, that you can wear for fall and winter? And then for the look piece, there's going to be some things in your closet that you're not going to be able to dress down and you're not going to be able to dress up. But how am I just playing with my style formulas to create new looks? So that's a way to kind of like challenge yourself in your wardrobe for fall without necessarily having to like buy new things, shop for new stuff, play with the mixing matrix, And if you don't have it, let us know because we'll get it to you. And
Okay.
the style formulas. Your caution for fall, do
Hmm.
not be seduced by pants. Do
I
not be
can't.
seduced by pants. I know, but every time it's like, but I'm so frustrated and bored with my wardrobe. I have the same 3 pairs of pants I wear with everything. And now there's all these cool corduroys that are coming out in fun colors or chino pants or whatever.
Yeah.
It's don't overwhelm yourself. Like, don't get too excited. Like, just stick to your basics, stick to
I
your
know.
essentials. Because as an apple, pants are really hard, and all that you're going to get out of that makes you feel frumpy and
Yeah.
not comfortable, confident when
No,
you wear them.
I have 2 pairs of chinos that they fit, so I wear them, and I know that they like
Yep.
do not make me feel my best, and like they need to go.
Yep.
They need
Yep.
to, even if I'm
Exactly.
walking around naked on the
So,
bottom.
yeah.
No, it's all
The
good.
other thing that I'm thinking about it for fall, pop over sweaters are like they can lean preppy. I don't know
Hmm.
that I love them with your edgy profile.
Hmm.
I'd rather see you do open layers rather than
I
like
love
pop over
open.
sweaters.
Yeah.
If you're going to do something that's pop over, I would rather
Hmm.
you lean more into your edgy style. And I would say like we're getting some really cool graphic sweatshirt
Okay.
like that you could wear. Like, I don't know if you ever see sometimes the outfit I put together with like I'll do like leggings and I'll do like my Winona State sweatshirt, I'll do my Explore rocket ship sweatshirt, I'll do like my
Hmm.
denim jacket over it.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
because I have like an adjacent edgy, like edgy is
Hmm.
not in my style profile, but
Okay.
I have a touch of it. I'm not going to
Hmm.
build my wardrobe around it, but
Right.
so I would rather you do like really cool long sleeve graphic knits, cool
Hmm.
graphic sweatshirts that you
Hmm.
can play with.
Okay.
And if when we're doing sweaters, I'd rather see you do open layers. Is there any question that you cannot let me leave this conversation without you asking?
No.
Okay. That's what I always ask
Yeah.
at the end of anything because I want to make sure that we've given space and time for all
Hmm.
of the thoughts and stuff that you're
Yeah.
processing. Yay.
No, I feel
I
go.
okay. I cannot wait to see you play with the style stuff.
Yeah. No, like
I think you're gonna have so much fun.
I'm scared, maybe not the right, I'm apprehensive about the edgy style and I'm excited to like experiment with it.
Yeah.
Because it feels out of the box for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But I like that at the same time,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
want to, and you're like platform sneakers. And I'm like, I don't wear fashion sneakers. Like we don't just, but like I know that it would really
Mm-hmm.
benefit my wardrobe to have a pair of sneakers that are
Mm-hmm.
working out. It's like
Mm-hmm.
something on my list. It's
Yeah.
just
And
now I have to
also
really
to
do
know this, exploring and experimenting with your style profile
it.
is a spectrum. So in the
Hmm.
beginning, you might find yourself making more conservative choices.
Hmm.
And as you play and you learn and you grow and that muscle stronger, you'll see yourself more on the adventurous side. That is
Hmm.
why the preppy side of you're like, boom, color. I'm going to wear color to 100,000 different ways, mix and
Right.
match with 100 other things. Like,
Hmm.
you've been dressing preppy forever.
Right.
You've known that about yourself. So
Right.
you, on that part, you're way on the
Yeah.
adventurous side.
Right.
Where now that you're learning to explore this other side of
Hmm.
yourself, it's gonna feel a little bit more conservative, and
Hmm.
you'll get down that path too.
Right. Yeah. But I'm excited.
Yay.
And this was really, really
Okay.
helpful.
Oh, good. I want you to
Yeah.
use this, like, please, like, be fully transparent
Hmm.
and how this service is used, what that looks
Yeah.
like, the questions you can come with. Like, I'll tell you, I have clients that they have a trip coming up. They book a virtual coaching call.
Hmm.
How should I pack? What should I bring? What's going
Hmm.
to work for me? If I need to buy something, what's the best investment?
Hmm.
I have a special occasion coming up, or it's a new season, or I like a lot of clients, they will send me like a portfolio of pictures ahead of our meeting and
Hmm.
I'll screen share and we'll go over them one by one, like the
Yeah.
entire meeting. Like, and I'll give
Yeah.
them coaching on like, okay, here's what I would do differently with this
Hmm.
outfit. Here's how I
Hmm.
would use this. Or they try on clothes for me.
Hmm.
Like, it's basically
Whatever you
your
need it to
personal
be.
stylist.
Yeah. Hmm. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
Oh my
Thank you
gosh.
so much. I appreciate you.
Oh, all right. Thank you, my friend. I will
Yeah.
talk to you again soon.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.